dog training, and we're back with another Training Tuesday. So today I've got a really special Training Tuesday for you guys. This is something that I've been wanting to do on Training Tuesday for a while, but I haven't had the opportunity, and that is showing some resource guarding protocols. So I haven't been able to show you guys this because I have not had an in-person client for a long time that has resource guarding issues. I've worked with a lot remotely, but I haven't had any recently in person. But my own dog Barley, back there, who looks so innocent, actually resource guards from other dogs. He doesn't resource guard from people, from me, but other dogs, definitely. And I am actually dog sitting Tobias here. So Barley, when Tobias comes near food, sometimes even the water bowl, definitely toys, and other things that Barley thinks are valuable, Barley will lip lift at him. So he's just curling his lips a little bit, and if I'm not careful, he will bark, lunge, snarl, and snap at Tobias. I'm pretty careful, so you will see that while Tobias is here, I've got all the toys picked up. Normally there's a huge toy bin right back there. And I'm feeding them in separate rooms, all that good stuff. But I want to continue working on this. So what we're gonna do is Barley is on his mat, and he is actually tied to the desk there. That's a safety thing, and if you guys have a dog that has caused damage to other dogs, I would recommend having 2 layers of safety going on. So that might be one dog is tied down and the other dog and they're behind a baby gate. The dog is tied down and wearing a muzzle, something like that, where you've got 2 layers of safety going on. Because I know Barley really well, Barley and Tobias know each other really well. Barley has been in more dog fights than I care to admit, thanks to a lot of off-leash hiking and whatnot that we do. And Barley has never ever caused damage to another dog, not even little dogs. So he's not wearing a muzzle, and we don't have a baby gate on because I'm not super worried about that here. The other tool I have a stuffed puzzle toy. So this is what is this? It's a West Paw design puzzle toy. It's just stuffed with wet dog food and a little bit of kibble. We're gonna give this to Barley so he's got something. If you have a dog who's a serious resource guarder, start with something really low value here, okay? So instead of something stuffed with meat, you might want to do just whatever your dog thinks is low value, and for some dogs that might be something literally as boring as like a celery stick, okay? So this is going to depend on your dog. Then I have my treat pouch, and that has slices of hot dog for Barley. I have 20 because this is going to be fast and short. We don't want the dogs going at this for too long because it's stressful. And then I have just normal training treats for Tobias. There's some off-brand, I don't know, I got them at PetSmart. Okay, so Barley is tied down, he's on his mat. I'm going to give him this, and then we're going to practice Tobias and I walking past. And we are going to see what it is that we can capture Barley doing, and then we're going to toss the food to him. And I actually haven't ever done this before with Barley. I've done this before with other dogs, but I've actually never worked on Barley's resource guarding with other dogs. So we're going to see what he starts offering. It might just start with me and Tobias walking past. Whenever we walk past, Barley gets a hot dog thrown at him, so he's getting bonus treats just for Tobias walking past. And if after a couple repetitions, hopefully we're going to see him starting to lift up his head or do something when Tobias and I walk past, and then we're going to mark and reward that. And we like to do that so that we're rewarding the dog for a behavior as soon as possible. This facilitates learning for most dogs, okay? So I'm gonna give this to Tobias. I might rotate you guys a little bit so Barley's a little bit better in frame, and we're gonna get going here. All right, so Barley has his puzzle toy. He's eating it in the weirdest way possible. And we're gonna start with, Tobias is gonna be on my left, away from Barley. And we're just gonna walk past and throw him a little bit of hot dog. Good. He didn't even notice us, that's great. If your dog is staring, barking, lunging, snarling as you're doing this protocol, you are doing something that is too hard. So we like to see kind of this level of, he's not really that worried, right? Good. Good boy, Tobias. Good. So actually might be seeing here, guys, is the fact that Barley's puzzle toy is so good that he's not really that interested in Tobias because Tobias isn't getting right in his face. They actually might be getting a little bit better luck with something that's a little bit low value. So again, just something to keep in mind. You don't want to give your dog something so high value that they're guarding it with their life. But you also can kind of see the opposite end where Barley is so excited about this that he's not even paying attention to Tobias. That's not to say he wouldn't guard it if Tobias got right up in his face, but for training purposes, this might actually be too high of a value for us. Not because it's too hard for Barley, but because he's actually not paying attention to Tobias with it. Okay, so we're gonna keep going, but just give him a little bit of a break. We're gonna take a little bit of a break and then we're gonna move all the dogs a little bit closer and we're gonna try again. Good boy, Barley. Alright guys, so that's a really basic counter conditioning exercise that you guys can do if you've got really low level resource guarding going on in your home, either against people or against dogs. So what that's going to be again is you've got your dog set up in a situation where he's safe and controlled, ideally behind 2 layers of safety if you guys are not experts at this. So dog can be tied down behind a baby gate, muzzled, any combination of kind of those 3 things usually works best. And then either if the dog has problems against people, you're going to just practice walking by and dropping food into your dog's bowl. If your dog has issues with other dogs, keep in mind that this can be a little bit trickier because you can't control what the other dog is doing. Tobias was actually making this really easy for Barley because he was staring at me. He wasn't trying to get at Barley's toy. But keep in mind that if you have a different helper dog, that might be a lot harder. And if your dog has beef with a particular dog, practice your skills first with a different dog, okay? So don't start out with the dog or the person that your dog has the most issues with, okay? We're just gonna practice dropping treats, really good treats for the dog when either the person or dog walks past, and ideally you're trying to capture one little thing. So with Barley, what I was trying to capture was his eyes rolling up and towards me because that was all I was getting. Again, that was probably because the puzzle toy that I gave him was just so good that he was more focused on eating that than he was on guarding it, which in some ways is good, but I also would caution you to try to find something that's at that medium level where you're able to get your dog to disengage from the toy for training, but it's not so low value that it's not worth guarding, nor is it so high value that your dog is throwing a huge fit about it, okay? And dogs can kind of go either way with something that's really high value. They might be so focused on it that they don't respond, or they might be so upset about another dog approaching it that they really explode. So we want to be in that kind of middle ground, medium easy level, right? And we're just going to practice that, and ideally we do get to the point where we start teaching the dog a leave it or a drop it, and you're able to call them away from that valuable item. So you might want to teach that separately before you go into this, but here I'll show you guys a demo. Now that Barley is interacting with that toy again, we're gonna call him away. Boop. Good. And I'm all out of treats, but there's a little trick there. I just gave him an air treat. I acted as if I was giving him a treat, but I didn't have anything. He doesn't really know any different. Probably a little disappointing, but it's okay. So you want to be able to call your dogs away from those valuable items as well. So, and then I'm going to pick up these items because if I go and sit back down and go back to my day job and I leave these toys out, there's going to be arguments in this household in no time. And ultimately, yes, we'd like to get to the point where that's not the case, but we're not there in our training plan right now. As I said at the beginning, this is the very first time I've ever worked with Barley on this particular issue. and I'm actually pretty proud of how he did. There was no snarling, growling, snapping. We pretty much just did a little bit of a modified counter conditioning approach, pretty basic stuff. But that's where you need to start, and good dog training, especially for aggressive dogs, should look very boring and very slow. So if you guys are interested in learning more about myself, Barley, and Journey Dog Training, you can go to journeydogtraining.com, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Barley's got an Instagram. He's at Collie Without Borders with a period in between each word, so Collie period without period borders. Follow us there. We do all sorts of vlogs, all sorts of training videos, and we are here to help as much as possible. If you guys are watching from Missoula, Montana, you guys can hire us for in-person training, but if you're not watching from Missoula, we do offer remote video training to anyone, anywhere in the world. We also have email and text support available. So check all of that out on journeydogtraining.com. We'll see you guys next time.